Good evening and welcome to another installment of the New York Minute Sports Show. The Mecca's back open for business. We've got the Knicks season home opener against the Cavs tonight, and I'll be in the building, baby. It's New York Minute Sports. It's New York sports for New York nuts. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. Let's go!
It's New York Minute Sports. It's New York Sports Talk with Sports Nuts.
Well, there you have it, folks. The New York Knicks are back playing basketball, and if you want to talk about one team that runs New York, it's the New York Knicks, baby, because every other sport, you got people going in two different directions, or even when it comes to football, three different directions. But I don't know who's a Brooklyn Net fans other than Evan Roberts from WFAN and people in Bellevue in the mental home. But guess what? This is a Knicks town, folks, and the Knicks are back in business against their biggest rival this year. With Halliburton and Tatum down, the only team in the East that stands in the New York Knicks' way is the New York Knicks. And the Cleveland Cavaliers welcome the New York Minute, guys. Thank you for joining. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. And the reason I say that is that injuries are going to be the biggest hurdle for
He'll take it. He'll backpedal, a three for the win, and goal!
the New York Knicks this year, who were relatively healthy last year. And the way the New York Knicks lost last year to the Indiana Pacers, this is got to be a revenge tour of biblical proportions. The one problem that I have with the New York Knicks is expectations. The last 2 to 3 years, the New York Knicks have been a cute story. They've been a good story. The Nova Knicks. Oh, look, the New York Knicks that have been terrible for the last 25 years are starting to get better, and Madison Square Garden is popping off. But remember back to this, Knicks fan base. 3 to 4 years ago, we were out of the building after the double overtime win in the first game of the season. We acted like it was the NBA Finals. Now, we've seen this team for 2 years, and we got to act like we've been here before. These New York Knicks have big expectations and a big bullseye on their back, and they're going to have to come through. Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson are the key to this year. Last year, you would have thought it was a no-brainer that Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns would gel together and be one of the most prominent 1-2 punches in the NBA. But for some reason, they couldn't get on the same page. So maybe now, with a new head coach and a whole offseason to get on the same page, maybe these guys can get a little spark going and be a two-headed monster. And if OG takes the step that I think he can take, maybe we'll have a three-headed monster, because I think OG has all the talent in the world. He's the same size as LeBron James, and I think he's still growing as a player, and he hasn't reached his ceiling yet. It's just a matter of what OG's body will let him do. Speaking of what you will let your body do, Mitchell Robinson and Hart are out of the season opener. I'm a little pissed. There's guys out on Cleveland as well. Are we already doing load management in the NBA in the first game of the season? Now, I'll be the first one to say it, and I'm guilty of this. I am a huge baseball fan, but there's nothing more meaningless than the first game of a 162 season. So maybe that's the way they see this first game of the regular season of the NBA and the 82 games that they have, where it's just another game. But I'll tell you this, It's gonna be Pop Hand in MSG tonight, and your old Uncle Erik from New York Minute is gonna be interviewing people outside the building. So come say hello and come answer a few questions, baby, because the New York Knicks are playing basketball and we are all pulling in the same direction. Quick prediction: Knicks Rockets finals, but we'll get to that. The Knicks finished last year 51-31, and they made a deep run into the playoffs, and they broke our heart. I'm a 90s Knicks fan. I grew up with Michael Jordan and Reggie Miller breaking my heart all the time, and when we finally got to the finals, it took Michael Jordan to go play baseball, and Hakeem Olajuwon showed up, and O.J. Simpson got on the L.A. freeway, and John Starks ruined everything, even though I love John Starks. That game still kills me to this day. And I still get chills and creeps when I hear the NBC now. I still shake in my boots from thinking about Michael Jordan coming out that tunnel. But now the New York Knicks are the top dog. But one of the biggest problems last year was Tom Thibodeau's old school style of NBA basketball. I've called Tom Thibodeau on this show the Buck Showalter of NBA head coaches. And what I mean by that is Buck Showalter always takes a team right to the edge but can never win the big one. He's great at development. He did it with the Timberwolves. He did it with Chicago Bulls. And now he's done it with the Nova Knicks. But now, as an organization, we trust in Leon Rose, and Leon Rose trusts in Mike Brown. And you know what the difference between Tom Thibodeau and Mike Brown is? Mike Brown uses his bench. And we saw it with the Oklahoma City Thunder, and we saw it last night against the Houston Rockets when OKC won last night in a double overtime. They can outlast teams with their deep bench. It used to be 2 guys or 3 guys that would take on all the brunt, like the Miami Heat, LeBron James and Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. But no, those days are over. It's more of a team sport and how deep and how many athletes you got on this team. You know, if you think about it, Miguel Bridges was saying to Tom Thibodeau last year, dude, you got to rest your horses. And Miguel Bridges has the most minutes played in the last 4 years of the NBA. He averages it, and he never complains about playing. And he actually said it to Thibodeau. You saw the Knicks run out of gas last year in the playoffs. The year before that, they had injuries and ran out of gas. So people were scratching their head and saying, what's the problem? So let's see if it's Tom Thibodeau, because now the New York Knicks addressed another problem that they had. Last year, they had 0 bench. They had about 6 guys on that team, and it's pushing it. Now, the New York Knicks and Leon Rose have filled out the bench with veteran minimums, and now the New York Knicks, if they do fall into a pocket of injuries, they will be able to sustain it, and they will be able to go on because now they have veterans that can pick up the slack, and they didn't have that last year. Also, more movement and more pace and more three-point shooting from a Mike Brown offense. And that's what we need. You know, Tom Thibodeau was never known for his offensive prowess. He was always known as a defensive coach. And if you think about it last year, the New York Knicks did not play defense that well. And it was one of their weaknesses and not one of their strengths. And tonight they play the Cleveland Cavaliers, the one that got away. Spider-Man, as I like to call him from Cleveland, the big Mets fan. This is the guy that got away, and this is the guy that wants to beat the Knicks on the Cavaliers. And I really think the 2 teams that are going to give the New York Knicks problems this year, just because solely on matchups, are the Cleveland Cavaliers, because they're a fast team that like to run the floor, and the Detroit Pistons, because they like to get down and dirty, and they got nothing to lose. And the Knicks were lucky to win that series against the Pistons last year. So what makes me worried as a Knicks fan, and I am superstitious to the max, I literally listen to the end of the quarter on the radio so the New York Knicks will actually win. I do the same thing with baseball. If they're in the middle of a rally, I will stay in my car and listen to it on the radio because I think I'm going to jinx it somehow. I'm really worried about every talking head in the NBA, every NBA analyst. Stephen A. Smith, need a point guard. Stephen A. Smith predicting that they're going to the finals. Guys, let's remind ourselves, and I'm not being a hater, I love the New York Knicks, obviously. This is a losing franchise. The New York Knicks invent ways to lose all the time. All I know as a New York Knicks fan my whole life is losing in big spots. So can we please do this? As a collective, not the Knicks fans, get crazy. Be as crazy as you want. Get nuts in the garden tonight because I'll be getting nuts with you. But all the talking heads, all the dudes on the fan, all the guys on ESPN, everything can change in a heartbeat. Teams can come from out of nowhere. Injuries can decimate all teams. The New York Knicks have something special this year. The New York Knicks have their best chance to go to the finals in years. But let's get through the regular season and let's see how this team can mold together and work their way towards a championship, because if the New York Knicks do make the finals this year, it is going to be the biggest story since 1994-95 season, when the Spring in the Garden had the Rangers going for the cup and the New York Knicks going for a chip. All I know is, folks, since the New York Yankees season ended the way that it is, NBA opening tip-off couldn't come any sooner. Let me know in the comments below, what are you most worried about the New York Knicks this year? What are you most happy about the New York Knicks this year? And I'll ask you one more thing before we hit the road. Reports said that the Greek Freak wants to become a New York Knick. The New York Knicks have a 2 to 3 year window with the team assembled now. Salaries work out. We got Towns, Bridges, Brunson, OG, Hart. We got the whole squad for 2 to 3 years. Are you willing to risk all of those guys? And is anybody on the table to go get the Greek Freak, who has stated consistently that he wants to play in the Mecca of the NBA, Madison Square Garden? So like I said, I'll be out MSG tonight. I'll be asking questions. I'll be talking to the people. It's New York Minute Sports. It's New York sports for New York nuts. And remember, if you can't be good, be the New York Jets, baby. Bye.